And good day, everyone, and welcome to the QEM Heroes webinar series. I'm Christine Wood, and I serve as the Assistant Program Director for the Heroes Fellows Program at QEM. And for more than 30 years, QEM has been a national catalyst for STEM education transformation and research capacity building. Currently, the QEM network serves nearly 900 colleges and universities and reaches more than 8,000 individuals nationwide. This webinar is part of the HEROES initiative. The HEROES program brings together former federal scientists to lend their expertise and support to the STEM research and education communities. Our fellows are here to provide tools and tips for navigating the funding landscape, developing STEM programs and partnerships, and improving talent retention in in-demand fields. We hope this series promotes engagement with our HEROES fellows and provides valuable resources to our participants. The webinar recordings and slides will be available in the QEM Resource Hub. By attending this webinar, you will soon be added to the QEM network and granted access to the Resource Hub. I'm so happy and proud to introduce our Heroes Fellows today. Shadei Laird is a Naval Systems Safety Engineer whose research background focused on safety analysis and risk mitigation for complex naval systems, with prior experience supporting ammunition and ship self-defense systems for NAVSEA. She also has extensive experience in STEM education and supporting engineering workforce development programs. In addition, she has also coordinated the College of Southern Maryland's Workforce Development Program with the University of Maryland College Park and the Naval Air Warfare Center Aircraft Division. Lastly, she has also been a participant in the U.S. Army Sustainment Command's internship program for engineers. And Dr. Jehnae Linkins is a mechanical engineer, researcher, and founder of the nonprofit Don't Adjust Your Crown, where she advances equity in STEM through mentorship, design, and community engagement. She earned her PhD in mechanical engineering from the University of Maryland, where her research focused on equity-centered and Black-centered design in emerging technologies. Dr. Linkins works at the intersection of engineering, social impact, and inclusive research, helping institutions reimagine how STEM can better serve historically marginalized communities. So, without further ado, I'd like to turn the floor over to our presenters today. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christine, for that introduction. So we will go ahead and get started. I'm going to share the screen. Okay. Just to confirm that we are all able to see the screen. Great. Okay. So, welcome back, everyone. I just want to introduce you to Find It, Fit It, Fund It, Part 2 for community colleges. Today's focus, obviously last month we focused on how to find and evaluate funding opportunities. And so today we'll be narrowing down our focus to community colleges and exploring funding opportunities that align with the mission and the strengths. And let's get started. So just a little bit of who we are. So QEM Heroes, hiring experienced researchers to optimize ecosystems in them. And so all of our hero services are free. Those services include grant proposal development, assistance and guidance, on-site and virtual workshops and trainings. We have one-on-one technical assistance sessions, and we also provide weekly informational webinars. So if you would like to learn more about our QEM Hero events, go ahead, you can scan the QR code, and this QR also will be available towards the end of the slide as well. Or end of the presentation, excuse me. So just to get started, our series roadmap. So last month, we did Find It, Fit It, Fund It, and just a general overview of the series. We touched on community colleges, HBCUs, but now we're going to be going individually into each one. So today's webinar will be focusing on community colleges. We also have one coming up on August 25th, which will be funding strategies for HBCUs. And then in September, we'll be hosting a funding lab from opportunity to action, which will be a working session type of webinar. So why do community colleges matter? So before we talk about funding, let's first talk about why community colleges matter. Community colleges are often the first point of access to higher education, providing affordable pathways to degrees, certificates, and workforce training, also as well as transfer opportunities. They play a critical role in workforce development by preparing students for high demand careers and responding to regional workforce needs. So for many students, community college is also the starting point for a STEM career. So beyond academics, community colleges serve diverse learners from recent high school graduates to adult learners, veterans, and or even if there's career changes. And they work closely with employers, universities, nonprofits, and communities. So because of this unique role and broad impact, community colleges are a major investment priority for federal agencies, foundations, and industry partners. And so we'll take a look at the numbers that illustrate just how significant this impact really is. So before we talk about the funding specifically, it's important to understand why community colleges receive so much attention from the funders. So community colleges educate nearly half of all undergraduate students in the United States and serve millions of learners each year. They are often the entry point into higher education for first-generation students, adult learners, veterans, and students balancing work and family responsibilities. But community colleges don't just educate students. They also respond directly to the regional workforce needs, whether that be healthcare, advanced manufacturing, cybersecurity, education, or other skilled trades. Community colleges are preparing the workforce that local industries depend on. So because of this unique role, federal agencies, foundations, and industry partners see community colleges as a key driver of economic mobility, workforce development, and educational equity. So one of the biggest misconceptions institutions need to that institutions have is that they need to create an entirely new program to be competitive for funding. So, but in reality, many community colleges are already doing the work that funders want to support. The mission of the community colleges naturally aligns with the priorities of many federal agencies, foundations, and industry partners. Areas like workforce development, student success, transfer pathways, STEM education, and community partnerships are all common funding priorities. Um, Community colleges already have strong relationships with employers, universities, nonprofits, and local organizations, making them well positioned to demonstrate collaboration and community impact. So the key takeaway here is that your institution's mission is your greatest asset. So rather than trying to fit your ideas into a grant, start with the work that your institution already does well, and then identify funding opportunities that align with those strengths. And so next we'll look into take a look at the funding landscape and explore who is making these investments and where the opportunities can be found. So now that we've established why community colleges are strong candidates for funding, the next question is where does that funding come from? So while federal agencies are major funders, they're only part of the funding landscape. Opportunities also come from state agencies, private foundations, corporations, and industry partners. Federal agencies like NSF, Department of Education, Department of Labor, um, fund projects in areas such as workforce development, STEM education, student success, and institutional improvement. State agencies often support regional workforce and educational priorities, while corporations and foundations invest in initiatives that strengthen education, innovation, and economic mobility. So the key takeaway here is that funding opportunities exist at multiple different levels. If one opportunity isn't the right fit, another opportunity may be. So now that we know where the funding comes from, we're going to talk about how to identify the opportunities that best align with your institution's goals and strengths. So finding the right opportunity. One of the biggest mistakes institutions make is searching for funding before they've clearly identified the problem that they want to solve. Successful grant seekers do the opposite. They begin with understanding an institutional or community need, and then look for funding opportunities that align with that need. So once you've identified the challenge, explore potential funding sources and carefully evaluate whether that opportunity is a good fit. So consider eligibility requirements, project expectations, available partnerships, and your institution's capacity to carry out that work. And finally, you're going to be developing a strong project concept before you begin writing. So the funding opportunity should support your vision and not just define it. So it's basically a 4-step program. Identify the need, explore the funding sources, evaluate the fit, and develop your project. So first question we have of the day is, what is the biggest challenge your community college is currently trying to address? And you can put your answers in the chat. We'll give it a minute or so. Okay, we got all of the above. First one and all of the above. Let's see. B, C, and F. So we have student retention and completion, STEM enrollment and success, and industry partnerships. Also, we have Tanya, A, E, and F. Workforce development, faculty or staff capacity, and industry partnerships. Okay, great. Well, that's perfect. We'll be talking about all of these different categories next. All of the above, specifically B, C, E, and F. Okay, student retention, student enrollment, STEM enrollment, industry partnership. Someone said limited funding resources. Okay, great. Thank you all for participating. Okay. So with that, so now that we've explored the funding landscape, we're going to look at the 5 major funding categories that are most relevant to community colleges. So while every funding opportunity is unique, most will align with one of these areas. So workforce development that prepares students for high demand careers through employment partnerships and career pathways. We have student success, which focuses on improving retention, completion, and equitable student outcomes. STEM education, which supports curriculum innovation, hands-on learning, and expanding participation in STEM. Transfer pathways, which strengthen the transition from community colleges to four-year institutions. And then institutional capacity building, which invests in the people, the systems, and infrastructure that keep colleges, that help colleges grow and sustain their impact. So a key thing here to keep in mind is that many successful projects span multiple categories. The key is identifying that primary goal of your project and aligning it with the right funding opportunity. So over the next few slides, we'll take a closer look at each category and discuss why these funders invest in these areas. So first we have workforce development. So that's one of the strongest funding areas for community colleges. Community colleges are uniquely positioned to prepare students for high demand career and respond to changing workforce needs. That's why funders continue to invest in programs that strengthen career pathways, apprenticeships, industry partnerships, workforce credentials, and curriculum innovation. The reviewers want to see that your project will address a real workforce need, includes strong employer partnerships, and leads to measurable outcomes for students and the local economy. The good news here is that many community colleges already have these relationships in place. And so your existing partnerships and your workforce programs are some of your most great or some of your greatest strengths when developing a competitive proposal. So as you think about workforce development funding, ask yourself, what workforce need are we addressing? Who are our partners? And what impact will this have on the students and our community? So a key takeaway here is that strong workforce development proposals connect education, employers, and community needs to create a measurable workforce outcome. So in example we have is instead of asking what project do I want to do, you're going to be asking what workforce challenges is my community facing? Just doing a little bit of reframing. So while enrolling students is important, funders are increasingly focused on what happens after students arrive on campus. They want to see student persist, that they complete their program, transfer successfully, and achieve their goals. So student success grants help institutions remove barriers to achievement by supporting initiatives like academic advising, tutoring, peer mentoring, mental health services, career coaching, and other student support programs. Because community colleges serve diverse student populations, including adult learners and veterans and work students, funders recognize the need for innovative student-centered approaches. So when reviewing proposals, funders want to see measurable outcomes. So you're going to be asking yourself, how will this project improve retention? How will it improve completion or student success? And how will we measure that impact? So remember, student success is a campus-wide effort. The strongest proposals demonstrate collaboration as a clear plan for improving student outcomes. So something to leave here with would be student success or successful student success proposals remove barriers, improve measurable outcomes, and create lasting support systems that help students achieve their educational goals. So an example here would be instead of saying, I need tutoring, you'll ask yourself, what student outcomes are we trying to improve? Community colleges play a vital role in building the nation's STEM workforce. So many students, especially first generation and historically underrepresented students, they are the entry point into STEM education. So because of this, funders invest in projects that expand access to STEM through curriculum, innovation, undergraduate research, faculty development, laboratory improvements, and hands-on learning experiences. So beyond equipment and technology, reviewers want to see how your project will improve student learning, increase participation, provide meaningful experiential learning, and prepare students for careers to transfer or transfer to four-year institutions. The strongest STEM proposals connect innovative teaching, student engagement, workforce preparation, and student partnerships to create lasting impact. So a key takeaway here is that funders will invest in STEM education because it develops a skilled, diverse workforce prepared to solve for tomorrow's challenges. So instead of asking or saying we need equipment, you can say, how will this investment improve student learning, participation, or workforce preparation as it relates to STEM education? So transfer pathways, focusing on helping students successfully move from a community college to a four-year institution. Funders recognize that successful transfer requires strong partnerships, clear articulation agreements, and effective advising, as well as aligned curricula. Many grants also support undergraduate research, internships, and mentoring to better prepare students before they transfer. So community colleges already have strong relationships with universities, making them well positioned for this type of funding. So when you're developing a proposal, you can ask yourself, how will this project make transferring easier? How will it improve student success and increase bachelor's degree completion? The strongest transfer pathway proposals remove barriers, strengthen partnerships, and create seamless pathways to help students achieve their long-term educational and career goals. So the key takeaway here is that successful transfer pathways, proposals, strengthen institutional partnerships, and create clear, supportive pathways to improve student success beyond the associate's degree. So for example, we have, instead of asking how can we get more students to transfer, we can ask what barriers prevent our students from successfully transferring and completing a bachelor's degree, and how can partnerships help remove those barriers? And so our final funding category is going to be institutional capacity building, which focuses on strengthening the institution itself. So unlike grants that support a single program, these investments help colleges build the people, the systems, and the infrastructure needed for long-term success. This can include faculty development, grant writing support, strategic planning, data systems, technology, research, infrastructure, and leadership development. So funders want to know that your institution has the capacity to manage the project and sustain its impact after the grant ends. So as you develop your proposal, ask yourself, how will this investment strengthen our institution, improve our ability to serve the students, and position us for future funding opportunities? So ultimately, capacity building grants help colleges create a stronger foundation for long-term growth and success. So the key takeaway here is that capacity building grants strengthen the people, the partnership, and infrastructure that positions institutions for sustainable impact and future funding success. So an example here would be, instead of asking how can we get funding for more staff or equipment, you can say what institutional capacity do we need to strengthen to better support students, faculty, and future funding opportunities. So far, we've explored the five major funding categories, but many projects don't fit neatly into just one, and that's okay. Instead of asking which grant should I apply for, start by asking what problem am I trying to solve? Your project's primary goal should guide the funding category. So, for example, if we are going to be preparing students for careers aligns with workforce development. If we're looking at improving retention or graduation, that aligns with student success. And enhancing STEM learning aligns with STEM education. Supporting student transfer aligns with transfer pathways, and strengthening institutional systems align with institutional capacity building. Remember that the funders don't just invest in good ideas, they invest in projects that advance their mission. So the strongest proposals clearly connect an institutional need with measurable outcomes and tell one consistent story from beginning to end. So start with your institution's needs and desired outcomes, then identify the funding opportunity that best aligns with those goals. So now we're going to play a little game. So do you think you have what it takes to think like a funder? So I'm going to have you guys scan the QR code And you can enter your nickname, and then we will start the game in just a second. So I'll give you another minute to scan, and then I'll switch over to the actual game. Give me a second. Okay, yeah, we got people jumping in. That's exciting. Okay. All right, all right, all right. And I will just jump back over just for a second, so people can join in if they haven't already. And
And if
then,
anybody is needs a little help with the scan, just go to your camera, take a picture of the QR code. You'll see something yellow, and it'll take you to that link.
mhm. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's if my mom is on the
All right. So let's see. Okay, we'll go with our three that we have up here. And also game pin, everything is up at the top. Okay, we got one more. There we go. Love that. Oh, two more.
Okay,
Perfect.
okay.
Okay.
I say
This
you
is
gotta give them
exciting.
time to get to the QR code today. Everybody's not
Okay. So if no one has played Kahoot before, pretty much you have to be the first one quickly to answer the question, so you'll get more points that way. So I will get us started because it's
Wait, let
exciting.
me elaborate on that. So if I'm playing and Janae's playing and we both get the answer right, whoever enter it first will be ahead in the game. So I just wanted to make sure that's super clear. Okay, all right, so go
Yeah.
ahead.
All right, let's go. I'll turn a little games on. They can get it on after all. So there we go. So which funding category is best suited for creating apprenticeship programs with local employers? Okay, yeah, workforce development. Great job. So we're thinking like funders. Great. Okay, who's up on the scoreboard? Okay, B is on top. So great job. Okay, it's also only 5 questions too fast. So a community college wants to improve first year STEM retention through peer mentoring. Which funding category does this fit best? Student success, transfer pathways, workforce development, or institutional capacity building? We have about 10 seconds left. I think most answers will be. Awesome. Student success. Great job. Yep. So this will be attributed to student success. Okay, who do we have? Okay, y'all, B still on top. So you got to catch up or answer a little bit quicker. Okay, question 3. A proposal to modernize engineering laboratories and redesign STEM curriculum would most likely fit under which category? So proposal to modernize engineering laboratories and redesign STEM curricula would most likely fit under which category? 5 seconds left. And almost in. Okay, 6. Student STEM education. Yep. Great. Okay, he's on the lead. Let's see, we got almost one more question after this. Which project best aligns with transfer pathway funding? That'd be purchasing classroom technology, faculty leadership training, creating articulation agreements, and transfer advising or career fails. So which project best aligns with transfer pathway funding? Yep, everyone got that right. Yep, creating articulation agreements and transferring advising. Great job. Oh, New Yorker is coming up there. All right, now our last question of the day is grant writing workshops and faculty proposal development are examples of what? Grant writing workshops and faculty proposal development are examples of what? Is that going to be workforce development, student success, STEM education, or institutional capacity building? Yes, institutional capacity building. Okay, let's see who were the winners. Coming in third place, we have B. Second place, we have QCC. And first place, New Yorker. So great job, everyone. Thank you for playing. Runners up, Dr. J and David. So great job. Thank you, everyone, for playing. I should have gave this caveat in the beginning. We do not have prizes, but we're giving you all of the we're giving you all the advice and all the knowledge that we have. I'm so sorry. So with that being said, I'm going to pass this over to Shadei and we'll keep going. Let me just exit out of this before music. Okay. All right. Let me keep going. There we go.
I'm not sure how I got stuck presenting after the fun Kahoot, but hopefully you guys will hang in there with me. Thank you, Dr. Linkins. I just want to start off with my presentation for saying how important that the research funding is for community colleges at this point in time, and that applying for research funding is no longer optional. It's key and necessary for student success, workforce competitiveness, and institutional sustainability so that students have access to the programs and resources that they need to graduate, transfer, and enter the workforce. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm hoping to use this information that my colleagues, Dr. Linkins, has shared, and that I will continue to share for a call to action. So I'm gonna read this quote, which is great accomplishments rarely begin with certainty. They begin with someone willing to take the first step. So hopefully with information that's shared today, if you're already working on a proposal, you will look for opportunities and fit them so that you can submit and fund your transformative impact. And if you haven't started, as soon as you jump off this webinar, it'll be the first thing you do is look into some opportunities and start working on that proposal. Okay, so this one, I'm going to talk a little bit about fit your strengths and how it's important to make sure that you're aligning the opportunity with your institution, not necessarily just chasing opportunities all over the place. I'm going to read a couple of these questions for you to ask yourself. And this presentation will also be available if you want to go back and just do a deeper dive on all these categories. But I'm going to read a few of them out loud just to get all of our wheels turning. So first, for workforce development, we have what workforce gaps are we trying to address? So think about your specific community college institution. One of the community colleges that I know and love and used to work for, it was very strategically positioned with less than an hour drive between 3 naval bases, right? So of course, a lot of things that they're doing at that community college involve students going to work for the Department of Navy, which is strong engineering pathways, strong innovation with the technology. And one thing that we all know about technology is not just focused on what it's doing today, but what it will be and should be doing in the future. The next question I will read is the industry alignment. What industries need talent in your region? So just to, I guess, piggyback off what I just said, think specifically about, where your community college is located, what's around it. Do you have a manufacturing plant around your community college? Do you have research laboratories? Think about your region and what your region might need. And then lastly is sustainability. Once you receive the grant, because we're saying everyone on the call, their next grant, they're going to receive it, and you implement these state-of-the-art programming for your students, what are you incorporating in your initial proposal that will allow you to sustain this program? So not just benefit your current students, but students in years to come will also benefit from and be able to sustain the programs that were implemented through this funding. Okay, so just one more, a few more strengths of the community college, and that is that they have the largest percent of adult learners, which means that a lot of the adult learners are coming to upskill or reskill, and they do so at the community college so they could take that information learned back to the workforce. And that's just another strong factor of why community colleges are so uniquely positioned as conveners of regional workforce systems. And one thing for the strength of the community college is being able to convert relationships into funded collaboration. So strong partnerships. They provide internships, equipment, mentors, job placement, pathways, matching funds, and letter of commitment. So one thing I want to specifically say about the letters of commitment is it's never too early to get one, ask for one. If you know who the regional employers are, when you're meeting with them, discuss it. Would you be willing to support us in our upcoming opportunities and funding ventures? And of course, once you get the opportunity, the letter can be more detailed and specific to the opportunity, but beginning to ask for that stuff when you're meeting with persons, whether they're just having a meeting on your campus or you're touring their facility, it's never too early to ask for those letters of commitment. Okay. This is my favorite slide. It talks about tell your research story, and I know many of us at the community college who are working there, we think about going out and getting the funding, but there are many opportunities where the funders might be looking for you. So if they're looking for you and they're looking for your capabilities, the first place they'll visit is your website. So the conversation with your faculty or staff that you might want to have with your colleagues or administration is, what does our website say about us? Does it build credibility with funders? Does it demonstrate organizational impact? Does it showcase our programs and success stories? And is it easy for donors and partners to engage, right? So one example of something that I have is brag on yourself, right? So if you have a portion on your website where faculty received a grant, don't just write that faculty received a grant. Tell your story and elaborate. So one way to say it is faculty and students partner with local manufacturers to address workforce shortages. Another way to say it, students design solutions for regional healthcare workforce needs, or also grant funded projects train 100 new technicians for local employers. So that lets the funder or the visitor to your website know that you're doing great work and you have the capacity to do more great work. Okay, so this is just another example of ways to strengthen your proposal, uh, how you can meet the need and fit that need and show that you have the capacity to make that impact and you can get that proposal funded. And also just how you word things when you're writing that proposal, make it specific and measurable. You can see what's on here. Instead of increase the STEM interest, increase STEM enrollment by 20%. Instead of improve workforce readiness, place 75 students and pay internships. And instead of strengthen partnerships, secure commitments from 10 employers. Okay, so this is a key slide I think everyone will really want to pay attention to. It was very important to Dr. Linkins and I that we give you some opportunities that you could take away today, start applying, and get that funding rolling into your institution. So the first one, you heard Dr. Linkins talk about the Lumina Foundation. They will be accepting sponsorship requests on August 1st. So we're right in time for that one. The next opportunity is this MART Scholarship for Service program, which is actually for students, but I wanted to make the faculty and staff aware because it's such a great opportunity for students. And then next you have the nomination period for the 2027 Sloan Research Fellowships, which opened on July 15th and will close on September 15th. And that is for early career faculty. So if you are early career faculty, talk about it with your dean, or if you're a dean and you know some great early career faculty, this is their opportunity. And then lastly, before I talk about the Department of Labor's opportunity, in small print in the parentheses, you see track the deadlines, because obviously the ones that are due the soonest, you work on that. But if there is an opportunity that's just a great opportunity, maybe has a large dollar amount attached to it, put it on your calendar. And that's how this Department of Labor Strengthening Community College got on the list. It has opened for 6 years in the past in February. We're hoping that it'll open again in February, but we want to talk to you a little bit about it so you can be prepared, because this is just such a phenomenal opportunity. So that's how that one got included, and I will elaborate on a couple of these opportunities in the upcoming slides. Okay, there you have it. So the Department of Labor Strengthening Community College grant, it is a workforce development grant. As you can see, they're currently on round 6, and hopefully next February they'll be on round 7. If you want to take the time and go to that QR code, it'll take you right to the website. On that website, you can find more about what they're looking for. You can see past recipients who've received the award, and the reason that this one is, even though the deadline is far away, we're marking it on our calendar, is because the award floor is 6.5 million, and then the award ceiling is 10.8. So that sounds like a good opportunity to start working on early. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is more information about the SMART Scholarship. Same thing, QR code is here at the top. This is the flyer. If you want this flyer to put into, I guess, your portal that the students access. I don't want to say Blackboard because that's probably dating to back to when I was in college. I'm not sure what it's called now. But let me just say, if you're a car person, this is the Lamborghini of scholarships. It pays full tuition, whether it's $5,000 or $50,000. And the best part is it really makes the pursue the degree equal for students, because the student who's receiving the scholarship, they get an annual stipend, depending on whether they're undergraduate, graduate, maybe perhaps around $3,000 a month. But that helps students who they don't have to work, they can focus on their studies. They are guaranteed an internship and employment. And by this being a workforce development program, that means that it is scholarship for service, which means that every full year that your tuition is paid, you do owe the government a year of service, and that's fulfilled when you graduate and you work for them at one of their military facilities. And like I said, there's some more information that you can go back and do a deep dive on that. And another important thing is that the students are able to maintain a security clearance with that. So that's the SMART Scholarship. Okay, and just for another resource for everyone who's on here who is working at a community college, the American Association of Community College, just a good resource if you want to stay informed and grow professionally, expand your network, and see what some of the best practices of that other community colleges with what they're doing with their programs, meet other faculty, attend conferences and training programs. I have provided that website. If on your own time you may be interested in learning a lot more about the work being done by the American Association of Community Colleges. Okay, so a closer look at the Lumina Foundation. The website is below. Like I said, they will resume accepting sponsorship requests on August 1. And one thing I wanted to highlight, as you can see in that second paragraph, is that they have a national goal by 2040 that 75% of adult learners in the U.S. labor force will have college degrees and other credentials with value leading to economic prosperity. So, as we mentioned before, the majority of those adult leaders at the community colleges, and that's why you see in the last sentence that they concentrate their efforts on colleges and university that serve the vast majority of students, such as community colleges, public universities, and minority serving institutions. So if you're interested in their programming and sponsorship, please visit their website, and that opens up on August 1st. Okay. All right, so one great opportunity that QEM is offering is our fall mock review panel, where if you have started a proposal and you would like some feedback, you will have access to these Genius Hero Fellows who have worked with so many organizations, including the Department of War, NASA, National Science Foundation. Some have even been program officers, and you can bring your opportunity, present it to them, and they can give you real-time feedback to strengthen your proposal. So when you are ready to submit, it has been reviewed, and the things that they offer up for you to make it stronger, you can put that in there. We'll get that date released to you soon, so please visit our website often. Please check your emails from us, and if you just need more than that, feel free to, email one of us directly. And as soon as we get that information, we'll make sure we get that out to you, that date. Okay. So I just want to encourage everyone that the next and best success story is yours. We're hoping that you'll contact Dr. Linkins or myself today, contact QEM today. We'll have some information coming up of how to best do that, but we're looking forward to hearing from you, and we're looking forward to hearing about your success story. Okay, so this presentation and all of our other presentations and great information you can find on the QEM Heroes YouTube channel. Of course, I'm sure you've pulled out your phone several times in this presentation, but if you would like to get directly to this website, you can scan here now or visit our website to go there. Make sure when you go to the channel, as much as you watch the videos, make sure you subscribe so you'll be aware of all of the things that are new and coming forward. Okay, and we're definitely hoping that you enjoyed this presentation. We're definitely hoping that you will connect with us via our event page, our web page, and provide us some feedback on our webinar form, of course, with these QR codes. So thank you. And Jehnae, if you have anything else you want to say.
Nope, I'm good. Appreciate it.
Does anybody have any questions? We have some more time, some more minutes.
And you can use the chat for your questions. You can use the Q&A box, or you can raise your hand to come off mute.
Thank you.
Chantal Demas, we have allowed you to speak. You can come off mute.
Hi, thank you for this workshop. I have a question concerning DEI. So I recently wrote an NSF grant, well, actually it's in January, and I was very careful not to include any DEI. And then when I got my reviews, I didn't get funded. They were saying that, oh, I didn't talk about DEI. So it's very confusing because this administration doesn't want you to speak about DEI, yet the reviewers are taking, they're considering that. So do you know how to, I guess, navigate this, especially in light of what's happening with the administration? It's like I wasn't even sure if I could put in the demographics of my university anymore. So if you could help with that, it would be very appreciated. Any thoughts? Thank you.
I guess I would say it would really, I guess, depend on, you said it was the NSF grant. I mean, I kind of would need to read the what it's looking for, and then I guess make a judgment based off of that. Um,
This is an NSF proposal, by the way.
NSF proposal.
Yeah, it was the IU's.
Shadei, do you have a?
I'm gonna defer that one to Christine.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not
I'm not.
really sure.
That's a tricky one to for me.
Yeah, so I think there are a lot of conflicting messages right now about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Clearly, the national priorities reflect a desire to remove DEI language from many proposals and grants. Something like IUSE is oriented towards capacity building and development around broadening participation. So, Chantel, can you describe the feedback you received?
Basically, they were saying that I didn't provide specific information about, I guess, the student population at the school and, that the demographics. I didn't provide those types, but like I said, I had them before, but I wasn't sure it was going to receive, especially since things were changing so much that
Mhm.
the panel reviewers are different, and with the language they were using, about DEI, that was so negative,
Yeah.
that I said, you know what, let me just remove everything, about the school. I mean, we're a community college. I'm at CUNY, and I'm at, and specifically QCC, like I said, which is one of the most diverse universities in the country.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the review, um, one of the review panelists, put in. So I was very confused, and I'm not sure how to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
I think this is a quandary that many researchers find themselves in. I think, in particular, when you're at an institution like CUNY that has such a broad reach and is so diverse, it's hard not to talk about the student population and how broadening participation applies to that institution. I would say that the current administration priorities are recommending using language like creating opportunities for all Americans, tapping talent from regions that are less represented. And I wouldn't say New York really counts in that
Mm-hmm.
arena. So there is a broad push to neutralize language around what we would formerly have described as DEIA. And I think what the feedback you received was to give more information about the demographics of the population without using language that necessarily pointed to diversifying equity and inclusion in the way that the administration is trying to pin that as being unfair and discriminatory. So I think I would focus on the broadening participation piece as well as describing the population. And I would reach out to the program officer too to get clarity on that issue.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Christine, for that. And Tori has also responded to you as well.
Oh, I
Um,
was I was a Triple S fellow a long time
yeah.
ago at NSF, actually, Geo.
If there are any additional questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, raise your hand to come off mute, or use the Q&A box. Okay, in the absence of additional questions, I am going to put a link to a form for evaluating this webinar. We love to receive your feedback so we can know what to incorporate in the future for our webinars. And in the absence of questions, I want to thank Dr. Linkins and Shadei for a wonderful presentation. And we do have a question from B. Kelly. As a new faculty, how do I go about establishing those industry partnerships for interns?
I would start with see what partnerships your institution has already. and maybe, see how you can either work for them. You said like industry connection in a new state, like that industry connection in a new state. Um, Shadei, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I guess where you're located, that's a start. And then, I mean, and it doesn't just have to be a regional partnership, but specifically if you have I guess a certain major or certain, I guess, area of development, reach out to those type of employers. One way to get a lead on the employers is maybe connecting with the career services offices and see what those connections are. But if you have a connection that's outside of what they already have, feel free to reach out them to directly. One thing you can always do is you can invite them to campus or ask for a tour. Those are some organic ways to um, meet in person and learn more about each other. Those are recommendations. But I can, if you want to, email me or talk a little bit more about that in depth, or provide some more information about your college and what industry partnerships you would like for internships. Internships is a specialty, so I'd be more than happy to work with you on that.
Thank you, Shadei.
Welcome.
Once again, thank you so much for attending our webinar today. We hope you will visit the QEM events page to sign up for future webinars. We thank you very much and hope to see you soon. Have a great afternoon.